Last week we talked about the Calvum Harrows, the Armory of Endings. It's an essential location for all those who wish to fight in the rebellion against the Celestials. Really, it's essential for all mourners to have weapons, because the Underworld's a dangerous place. However, there is one notable line of defense. One thing keeping out the greatest threats and most terrible creatures. Only one barrier: the Vadlum Gates. This is the School of the Dead. I'm Andrew Seco, your host and teacher for the day. As always, I'll supply any supplementary texts or materials necessary to understand the content, but for today, our primary textbook will continue to be the Chronicle of the Underworld. So let's continue our tour of the Underworld with the Vadlum Gates. The Vadlum Gates were raised in the early days of the Underworld. They were made with osteomancy and are comprised entirely of bone. It's quite likely that the Chancellor of Bone, Xyle, and her twin brother Tingvath actually worked together with many other osteomancers to create it. The Vadlum Gates surround Ilverness and keep it safe from the threats outside. And there's really not much else to it. Or there wouldn't be if it weren't for the BLIGHT Purge. Let's return to the early and empty days of the Underworld. The Alltaker was alone and tasked with collecting mortal souls. And though there were many mortals and many deaths, there was only one Reaper. The Alltaker didn't really understand his role yet. He could hardly comprehend what the Celestials were demanding of him. In a sense, he was acting mindlessly. And so when the Alltaker made his first creations, they were like him, acting mindlessly, collecting the Etheria for mortal souls. They were called the Bale Reavers. Entities made only for collection, powerful and efficient, and over time, hungrier. Sure, they were hungry to start, taking and delivering anything that they could find in the mortal realm, but they became ravenous. There was no concern for the pain they caused, nor damage to the dying. They were cruel and consumed by hunger. And this hunger for Etheria has a name: the Dreadsgrip. They were consumed by the Dreadsgrip. When the Alltaker saw this, he was disturbed. This wasn't at all what he wanted. Sure, the Underworld was thriving, the Celestials were sated, and the rebellion was growing. But even then, the Alltaker wouldn't let the Bale Reavers continue with their cruelty. He called them all from the mortal realm and closed the portal behind them. He refused to let them back into the mortal realm. The Alltaker realized he needed Reapers that were intelligent, that could reason. And after all this time, he had learned to create beings with their own will and intent, like his children. So with their help, he created new Reapers, the Nethergeist. And from the Nethergeist, the Mortis Knights would rise. These knights were the only ones strong enough to face the Bale Reavers, and that was their task: destroy them. Because after the Bale Reavers were cut off from the mortal realm, they flocked to the greatest source of Etheria, Ilverness. They came to the edge of the city seeking to devour any Etheria at all. The Mortis Knights stood outside the Vadlum Gates and fought valiantly against them. Among the Mortis Knights, Demethyl would rise above the rest. Demethyl would fend off the Bale Reavers. Demethyl would become the Blight Bane. Demethyl is perhaps one of the greatest and most respected heroes in the Underworld. And if you're interested in knowing more, the tale is being woven. Our first prose novel, The Rise of the Reaper General, tells this story in harrowing detail, and that is coming in 2021. But we'll speak more about it another time. There were a few Bale Reavers left, but with Demethyl leading their forces, osteomancers were able to encase the Bale Reavers in a shell of bone. They were shackled to the Vadlum Gates. The Bale Reavers became a part of the living barrier surrounding the city. They stand as a protection and a harrowing reminder of the past. The Vadlum Gates stand strong against those who wish to destroy the Underworld. But it's never been tested against the Celestials, and we should hope that it doesn't have to. The Vadlum Gates keep Ilverness safe so that the rebellion can grow, so that we can rise, conquer, and rule. So that is the Vadlum Gates, the bulwark of blights. And as always, if you have any questions about the Vadlum Gates or anything in Court of the Dead, reach out to us on our social media and we'll answer to the very best of our ability. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of School of the Dead, and make sure you tune in next week. We're going to zoom out from Ilverness and see what else looms outside of the Vadlum Gates. Now go, mortals, rise, conquer, and rule.
Did you enjoy that video? Be sure to subscribe by hitting the S icon on your screen and click the bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is posted. If you'd like more info on the items featured in this video, click the link provided under product info. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.